This is what China looked like before the 1911 revolution. However, after the Qing dynasty was overthrown, China entered a prolonged period of civil war, during which various warlords, each controlling small, independent territories, fought for dominance. Some of these regions came under significant influence from the neighboring Soviet Union. The most notable example is Mongolia, which was effectively governed under Moscow's supervision, and was not reincorporated into China after the Communists, led by Mao Zedong, won the Civil War in 1949. A lesser-known example is the region of Sinkiang, or Xinjiang, which also gained de facto independence from China before falling under Soviet control. Yet, if you look at a map of China today, you'll notice that Sinkiang is part of it. Why is that? Why did the Soviet Union give up Sinkiang while keeping Mongolia? Now, by the 1930s, Sinkiang's position was highly unstable. While the region managed to stay out of the conflicts raging in eastern China by recognizing whoever controlled Beijing as the legitimate ruler, it faced severe internal conflict. Although the provincial government was predominantly Han Chinese, Han being the largest ethnicity in China, the population of Sinkiang was mainly Uyghur, a Turkic Muslim group. The Sinkiang government implemented several policies that alienated his subjects, such as banning fatwas and excluding Uyghurs from government positions. Tensions escalated, leading to a full-scale rebellion in 1931, supported by an invasion from the neighboring Ma clique, which was led by Muslim Chinese forces. The only hope for Sinkiang's governor, Chiang Kai, to retain power was to seek help from the Soviet Union. The USSR, concerned that the conflict might spill over into its own territories with Turkic Muslim populations, was more than willing to intervene. With Soviet assistance, Sinkiang emerged victorious. However, Sinkiang essentially became a Soviet puppet state. Soviet troops were stationed there, the Russian language was given a more prominent role, land was redistributed, and a secret police modeled after the NKVD was established. However, this period of Soviet dominance was short-lived. In 1941, with Germany's invasion of the Soviet Union, Chiang saw an opportunity and expelled Soviet representatives, purging communists from his administration. Once again, Sinkiang was independent. In response, the Soviets began funding the very Muslim rebels they had previously helped defeat. These rebels made some gains and, in 1944, declared the establishment of the East Turkestan Republic in the region known as the Three Districts. Once again, this republic was under Moscow's control. At this point, it would seem logical that the USSR would want to keep at least this portion of Sinkiang, right? And indeed, it did. As the conflict between the East Turkestan Republic and the rest of Sinkiang, now under the control of Chiang Kai-shek's Chinese nationalists, started to fizzle out, Mao's People's Liberation Army began closing in on the region. The Soviets attempted to strike a deal with Chiang Kai-shek, who was still the internationally recognized leader of China at the time. Moscow proposed that Chiang recognize the independence of the East Turkestan Republic, hoping to use this as leverage as it became clear the communists were winning the civil war. Despite their ideological alignment, Stalin and Mao harbored mutual distrust. Stalin believed Mao was a Chinese nationalist first, a communist second, and a loyal member of the Communist Internationale only third. So, when the communist forces inevitably reached the East Turkestan Republic, the Soviets would need a legitimate reason to prevent its reincorporation into China. This strategy mirrored how Mongolia's independence had been secured. Chiang Kai-shek had recognized Mongolia's sovereignty in 1945, aiming to strain relations between the Soviet Union and the Chinese Communist Party. However, when it came to the East Turkestan Republic, the USSR demanded many economic privileges in addition to the recognition of the republic. The Chinese nationalists were not ready to give in, even though they were on the brink of losing the Civil War. As such, no agreement was ever made, and when Mao's People's Liberation Army finally reached its borders, the republic was peacefully annexed, with its army celebrated as heroes for their resistance against the Chinese nationalists. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider subscribing.